What's up, you guys? Thank you for clicking on this video. So, as you can tell by the title, I am quite surprised by the new Skybound Transformers comic issue #1 that just dropped like a week and a half ago. If you guys remember my previous videos talking about, the comic situation with Transformers the past year and a half since IDW lost it, and we started finding out new details over the past few months, and we started seeing art being heavily based off of, yet again, G1 Sunbow designs. I was very skeptical that would just be a lot of retreading of the same ground. There is some of that. You do get some of that within the story that's just typical, the G1 cartoon storyline. But there is some new stuff sprinkled in that I will be talking about in the spoiler section of this review. So first thing, I'm going to be going into a non-spoiler review here in the beginning, and then later on, like a couple minutes from now, I'll be jumping into the spoilers. So if you want to click away once I talk about spoilers, I'll let you guys know. So moving into the non-spoilers here, the art is really great in my opinion. The way it's drawn, a lot of the texturing and the colors is great. I've seen some people complaining about how a lot of the backgrounds in the panels are just blank colors. I don't really mind that. It seems very classic in my opinion, and I thought it really made some of the fight scenes pop. But there was some issues in terms of like hands sinking into the ground in certain panels and, minor art mistakes like that. But generally, the drawings were really great in my opinion. The story, again, it is a bit too familiar at times. It's a typical G1 Autobots crashing on Earth. They're in the side of the mountain, yada, yada, yada. But there is enough in the story that gets you hooked and is like, this is interesting. We haven't treaded this type of ground before in Transformers, so which I will be getting into a little bit later. R-rated. This is basically an R-rated comic, guys. This is the same company that I'm pretty sure that did Walking Dead. So yeah, if you've ever seen Walking Dead, you know what you're getting into here. There is some of that within this comic book. There is a lot of gore. Well, not a lot. There's some gore in here in terms of blood and death and stuff like that. So, which is pretty cool in my opinion. I do really like that they're treading in more of like a serious R-rated ground. I've been an advocate saying that we need some of that more in the Transformers franchise, something a bit fresh, a bit more of a serious take on these characters, and this does deliver that in some sense while still keeping that sort of campy classic tone that we all know and love Transformers for. And all the characters in general, whether they're human, Autobot, or Decepticon, they were written pretty well in terms of the dialogue, and in certain scenes, even with the humans, you kind of feel for them because it is that sort of relatable storyline with the humans. And there was a couple particular scenes with the Autobots that make you really feel for the situation that they're in and the war between the Autobots and Decepticons that's been going on for years. So that's pretty much it for the non-spoilers. I really do like this comic. A lot of cool things. Again, some stories and character designs that I wish were changed up a little bit to give some extra flair to the Transformers franchise, but it is what it is. Now, moving on to the spoiler section. First page, right away when you open up this book, it is gritty as hell. You see a dead human soldier with, I think, a bullet that went through his head, I'm pretty sure. And then you also see a panel with Optimus laying pretty much dead or in stasis lock with him like missing an eye and panels on his face. It's pretty crazy and gritty. And then you get introduced to the human protagonists, Carly and Spike. Typical, young adult, older teenager problems. Carly's working to save up money to go to art school. Spike is he's in like this weird relationship with his father where he's trying to go to astronaut school or whatever it's called, and they're having trouble with that relationship. And there's an interesting thing here with Carly and Spike when they're talking on the mountain here. She says sorry about Jimmy, and I'm assuming that dead soldier in the first panel is Sparkplug's brother, which would be Spike's uncle, because we do see that Sparkplug is a bit of an alcoholic and he's dealing with some demons within him. So that'll be interesting to see how that story unfolds. I'm really curious to see where they're going to go with that. So Carly and Spike fall into the Ark. And then Jetfire comes in and revives the Autobots and the Decepticons, and he found some Earth modes for them too, which is a bit different than the G1 cartoon, which is cool. So Jetfire's been gone from Cybertron for millions of years at this point, so he knows nothing about the Autobot and Decepticon war. So he's just reviving everybody he sees because he thinks everybody's just everybody's just a good robot in the room, you know. So as soon as Starscream wakes up, I think he's like the first one that Teletran 1 repairs. Jetfire is so shocked by his actions because guess what, people? Bumblebee gets it right in the face. Yes, sir. Starscream shoots him with his null ray right in the face. A deactivated Bumblebee in stasis lock that can't do anything. He can't defend himself. Starscream just point blank shoots his face right off, basically. Like, I'm pretty sure Bumblebee's dead. Like, I don't think there's anything he could do for a blown-off face in the Transformers universe, and if he can, that's a bit of plot armor that makes no sense in my opinion. But yeah, they pretty much killed off Bumblebee in the first few pages of the comic book, which is insane. It's awesome. It's a type of change in Transformers that I love and I advocate for, and I'm sure a lot of you guys watching agree with me too, because there's been a lot of oversaturation of Bumblebee in recent years, so I'm just glad that they handled it in a way that really surprised us, in a way that really sets how evil Starscream is and how evil the Decepticons truly are to kill a bot as innocent as Bumblebee. And their interaction between these moments with Jetfire and Starscream, they sort of imply that they have a deep past with each other. And within this argument, Starscream gets really mad at Jetfire and he shoots him really brutally in like the midsection. So he gets really injured from that and he's like laying on the ground. And then Optimus comes in. I think he says like never when he tackles Starscream, which is I think is obviously a reference to the 86 movie when Optimus pounds Megatron down to the ground saying never. I think that was a reference to the 86 movie, but I'm not sure. And how Optimus came in too, he was pulling some wrestling moves on Starscream. I think he did like a clothesline and he did like this backwards, I don't know what you would call the wrestling move. I'm not the biggest wrestling fan in the world, guys. Correct me in the comments if you guys know what these wrestling moves are called, but he does like this backwards tackle type thing on Starscream too, which is insane. I absolutely loved seeing that for the first time. we get to know right off the bat that Optimus knows how to fight, and it looks so sick. Ratchet also comes in with a ninja kick to Starscream, so I guess Ratchet knows some ninja moves. And then a little bit after this, we see Optimus finding out that Bumblebee is dead and like his face is blown off. He sees all that, and that's some really sad imagery, just the way it was drawn and the way the scene played out in terms of how it was written. It was almost perfect. Like, you really feel for Optimus and Bumblebee's lifeless body as he's holding it, cradling it on the ground. It's really terrible, and knowing how their relationship is, it's basically like a father-son type relationship. Optimus essentially there lost his son, and that's really terrible if you think about it. So then, towards the end of the fight, it leads into Optimus destroying Teletran 1 because he is reviving more Decepticons than Autobots, so the Autobots are becoming outnumbered and outgunned very quickly. So Optimus had to make a tough decision within that moment, and that was also another crazy thing in the comic. Like, Teletran 1 is dead, destroyed right away in the first issue. They don't have a supercomputer to call on to whenever they have a mission that, calls for Teletran 1. So that was another twist that was really cool to me. So then after that, the Autobots escape and the Seekers follow them. But then Jetfire sees, he gets up, he's all weak, and he transforms and he flies to them. and he helps get the Seekers off the Autobot's tail, but then that makes him even more injured to the point of pretty much death or stasis lock. So Optimus sees Jetfire land. They have a little bit of a moment, and Optimus tries to stop Jetfire from dying by opening up his Matrix, but Ratchet pretty much stops him and corrects him and says the Matrix can heal people, but it can't stop the inevitable, which is obviously death in Jetfire's case. So yeah, Jetfire basically dies at the end of this comic, which is insane. We're losing another A-lister within the Transformers franchise right away in the first issue. Very much reminds me of the 86 movie, killing off all these A-list G1 characters right away, right when the story begins. It really leaves this serious R-rated tone that really lets you know that this is a war going on, death can happen, anybody can lose their life at any moment. And also, Jetfire's last words, they're really heart-wrenching to me. He says, and I quote, "I have failed in my mission, Cybertron will die, everything will die." That is insane. That is some great writing, if you ask me. It really sets the tone for what's going on here, what Optimus might be thinking after Jetfire's death, and what Jetfire himself is thinking in his last few seconds of being alive ever. Like, he's guilty, he hates himself, he hates that he didn't fulfill his mission. Like, that's pretty terrible. That's a terrible way to die. That's I don't even want to think about that myself. So after that, the cons, they're low on Energon. Soundwave is sort of like scolding or trying to correct Starscream's actions at this point. He's trying to say that they have to harvest Starscream because he has the most Energon out of all the Decepticons that have been revived so far. And he says it's what Megatron would do, and Starscream stops him before he could even say Megatron's full name. He stops at Meg, and he proclaims that he is the new leader of the Decepticons. So it'll be really interesting to find out what this story is between Megatron and Starscream, what happened to Megatron, where he is, what he's doing, if he's even alive still. And it seems like they're trying to do a brand synergy where Megatron is also absent in this new high-profile comic universe, while Megatron is also absent in the movie universe with Rise of the Beast and the Bumblebee movie. So it'll be interesting to see how they tie that together. So Starscream, in an effort to get more energy for the rest of his team and himself, he goes to like a electrical plant or a power plant or whatever, which is where Sparkplug and his friend Dave work at. And Starscream, he lands, he sees the humans, and he grabs Sparkplug's friend, and he freaking crushes him with his bare hands. No, that is not an 86 movie Megatron reference. He legit crushes him with his hands, blood splattering all on the page, and Starscream is smiling while he's killing an innocent human, basically. So that is evil and sinister as you could get when writing and drawing a character like Starscream, and it really sets the tone for how far they want to go with this character and this new iteration of Transformers, with how evil they want Starscream to be. Like, this might be the most sinister and just straight up diabolical Starscream we're ever going to get in the Transformers lore. Like, he straight up kills humans and kills Autobots that are absolutely defenseless. Like, you really don't see that too much in the Transformers franchise. So, a lot of awesome things to talk about with this comic. I cannot wait for issue 2 next month. Starting off pretty strong, in my opinion. Not too much negative. I could really point out just a couple things, with the story. I wish it was a bit different and something a bit more fresh and new, and there were some drawing errors here and there, but other than that, it was a great read, a great comic to look at with the art style and everything. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it or bought it already. Go out there and get it, read it. It's really good. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover in this video. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you guys think about this comic so far? All my social medias are linked down below: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. My email is also down below if you guys want to contact me for business or inquiries, or if you also want to commission a diorama for me. I make dioramas for people in terms of for their displays on their shelves, or if you want to do it for photography or stop motions, all that good stuff. And yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye.